Hey, everybody. It's Tom and Tom, the intentional culture guys, back with you again.
Intentionally back with you again.
Yes, that's right. Everything we do is intentional, by God. Today, we're talking about meetings. And in particular, we thought we'd do a quick rundown of the five worst meetings anyone ever attends. Now, I'm sure that individual meetings can be really bad, but these are just bad by nature.
By design.
That's pretty much, yeah. So let's start with the first one. Let's get right into it here. The first one is the planning to plan meeting, or what some people like to call pre planning, which in my mind has always been just planning. But, like sometimes people feel the need to have a meeting to discuss their plans, to create plans for something that they're planning. And so you could see the problem with this one right away. Like sooner or later, somebody has to take ownership of these things and like create some preliminary plans to discuss. And one person could obviously do this, or two people, collaborating at their desk could do this. But sometimes it's just nice to have a whole room full of people who wish they weren't there involved in that process. The next one is the company announcement meeting. Now, why is it that leaders feel the need, the compulsion, if you will, to bring 100 people into a room, or however many, like at however many dollars per hour they're each costing, to sit there at on your schedule as a leader to find out about stuff that you could email them about, or write a newsletter, or put it on the intranet, or text them. But why make them come to a meeting and sit there and listen to you drone on about stuff that only 10% they're actually interested in? We don't know, but this happens all the time. It's one of the worst kinds of meetings there are. Number three, the document review. Now, these meetings have one positive attribute. They're always very quiet. So you could
Yeah.
actually take a nap during them if you already read the document. Because in a document review meeting, there's always a certain number of people who didn't actually already read the document. So it's not really about collaborating on improving the document or something, which, by the way, is something you can do uh, in asynchronous time with tools like Google Docs that have the ability to review docs, whenever you want, whenever it's convenient to you. But no, sometimes people feel the need to get in a room and together and read silently amongst themselves. Very important stuff. Very close knit bonding opportunity for people to just ignore the hell out of each other.
If it's the only way you can get them to read the document, maybe it has a purpose.
Yeah, I know Jeff Bezos actually does this at Amazon. He gives people a document and he allocates the first 30 minutes of the meeting for everybody to read it because he knows they won't do it ahead of time. But I've never found that to be a particularly great meeting. And the fourth one is one that I think everybody dreads, not only because it doesn't add any value, because its timing is horrible. And that, of course, is the Friday afternoon sync up. Let's get together and just make sure we're all on the same page before we go home for the weekend and forget about work as best we can.
For 2 days.
That's right. Meanwhile, some people want to be out of there at 4:30. So the fact that you scheduled a meeting right when they were wanting to leave, I'm sure makes them especially delighted to be in that meeting. And the fifth and final, I saved the best for last.
Of course.
It's the ever-present status meeting. Now, some people have things that they call daily stand-ups. Now, for us, the daily stand-up is a ceremony that is completely different than a status meeting. Because in a status meeting, like in the image here in the slide, people typically are looking at their work board or their, wherever they record the work they're doing, and they go through each piece of work and somebody says, this is what I've been doing. And half the people in the meeting already know all this and the other half don't care. And so it's just, like it could be a complete waste of time. Some serendipitous moment could happen where somebody says something valuable and there's an interesting discussion after that, although that would be getting off topic if you actually started drilling into something, because status meetings are not about solving problems. They're just about status. So, this meeting is almost toxic, really. But not to say that you couldn't substitute it for a good meeting, just not this one. And those are the top 5. What do you think, Tom?
I think I've done all 5 of those.
We all have.
My favorite, though, is someone trying to sync up at the end of the day on Friday.
Yeah. Now, I will say that I was on a team that used to have a Friday afternoon sync up, but we did it at the bar while drinking beer and playing darts.
That's a very different form of that structure.
It felt more like a ceremony.
All of these meetings you described are around potentially real objectives or purposes that people might want to structure and create some intentional culture ceremonies around. Or they may be better solved in a different way. Like we've always solved it with a meeting, and maybe that's not the way we should be solving it at all. And the nice thing is, if we teach the team to ask questions about ceremonies, what was its purpose? Was it worth the sacrifice? Do I leave with positive emotional energy or not? The team will learn to recognize when they're working, when they're not, and they'll learn when it's their responsibility to fix them. So we don't even have to come up with the solution in an intentional and culture environment, unless it's our ceremony. If we're running the quarterly, I inherited this and I'm expected to do an all hands meeting once a quarter. Well, if that's a mandate, like from on top, because it often is, it's a really interesting question to ask yourself. How do I turn that meeting into good ceremony? Right? And the answer probably is in the room again. If you probably ask your people, they'll tell you maybe what would be a better ceremony than what you're doing.
Right. One thing I used to ask my teams a lot when we were having a meeting on a regular basis that didn't feel right, I would say, I would ask for a show of hands who likes coming to that meeting. And if the answer was nobody, then, that was good enough for cancellation or reconfiguration.
Yeah, I'm close to, like, if anybody raises their hand, that's worthy of a conversation amongst the team, right? And it's conversation is, do you not understand the purpose or your role in it? It's that, like, if they just understood the meeting better, they might enjoy it. Should you not be invited to this meeting because really you don't belong? Or should the meeting be fundamentally changed or canceled, right? It could be there's a bunch of different things that come up when somebody says, this isn't working for me. But man, I think we should respect anyone in the room saying this isn't working for me, to at least continue to evaluate what we're doing.
Yeah. Sounds like you're talking about the P's.
Yes. In the book.
The P's of a good ceremony. They're all there, all the P's. We used to have the word trigger to describe what caused the meeting to be called, whether it was on a regular time basis or some event and trigger wasn't a P. So we we had a suggestion from someone to change it to prompt. So that's
Yeah,
what we
that's a
call
good
it
word.
now. It's the perfect word. You know, what prompts this meeting? It's 3 o'clock on Wednesday. That's what prompts this meeting.
Um, I'm intrigued by the idea that we sort of keep coming back to, which is, meetings. We're doing a meeting theoretically to actually accomplish work, to do work together. And if status is somehow an important part of that work, then maybe we need a meeting to do that. But we could say, is there another way to do status? I like the idea of coming together to read a document together, but when I do that ceremony, if we really need to read this document, somebody reads it out loud. And that sort of sets a pace and a tempo, and they read us a paragraph or a section, and then we discuss it, and then they read the next paragraph. And having just signed a bunch of legal documents in the last month for another startup, I'm sort of like, we didn't do that because we just leveraged AI so much to help us review the documents. We have something with infinite patience that can read each version and rendition of the document and tell us its concerns. So you might still read it quietly to yourself once, but if it's a
Right.
legal document, you don't understand it. And the ability to iterate on the document with AI would certainly make me think that meeting would change if I'm doing it with a bunch of
Yeah,
people as well.
for sure.
And
And it's a little late in the video now, but you could have had an AI just watch this video and give you a quick summary of it. But we're
it'll get
just
summer all into one sentence.
well, we're super glad if you're still here that you made it this far, because it means that probably we were somewhat entertaining, which
I mean, at the very least,
which is what
or
we
the
try to do
graphics
here.
were the dancing bear graphics that you added in post.
Yeah, maybe more dancing bear,
All
animations.
right.
Well,
But that's it for today.
yes,
Great topic.
you squandered another almost 15 minutes, and we very much appreciate it. And if you want to do it again, hit the subscribe button. I know it's there on the screen. And that way we'll pop up in your feed on YouTube, and you can watch these videos that we do that we have so much fun making.
Hopefully there'll be a title on them you relate to.
Yeah. And if you need our help, reach out to us. You can find us on beintentional.biz, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.